over to Colesville Road, and a brief delay between Landover Road and Central Avenue. The outer loop of the Beltway is jammed from Old Georgetown Road to River Road. And then just as you pass I-66, there's a longer delay in Alexandria from the Eisenhower connector to the Wilson Bridge. Now, from GarageDoorRepair.com, here's the WMAL 7 Storm Watch forecast.
Clear and cold overnight in the 40s and lower 50s by dawn. Mostly sunny for tomorrow, 75 to 80, around 80 with a mix of sun and clouds on Sunday. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudman, First Alert Weather Center.
Now 69 degrees in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
Now, broadcasting from the underground command post here, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Logan.
Hi there, good evening, and what's up, America? I am
Hey,
Valdez.
Rich Valdez is in.
On all of the
I like
media,
this
sitting
guy.
in for
He's
the great
cool.
one, Mark Levin, he's off for Yom Kippur tonight.
He's got that accent. He just
Because I feel like there's a war on truth. And in particular, I
smart
want to talk
man.
about relativism. Because relativism, quick philosophical lesson here. It's the view that claims that truth and morality and other standards vary across cultures and across historical periods, and that there is no universal criteria to judge this truth, right? You just can't judge people by this truth. Now, relativists believe that the authority of these standards is limited to the context in which they arise. So just imagine that. Right? You only behave nicely when you're supposed to behave nicely, right? When you feel like behaving nicely in that context. And I understand there may be times where you have to act up and get a little crazy with somebody, but do we abandon things that are right and wrong situationally? That's the question. Relativists say yes. I'm inclined to say no, but I'll keep going. I'm giving a little bit of a relativism Google here. Now, relativism It has become more popular in recent years due to the breakdown of traditional ethical frameworks,
The kids upstairs are quite active.
scientific certainties, and the increasing awareness of cultural diversity. This is, again, Dr. Google over here. Now, some people see relativism as a sign of tolerance, while others consider it to be one of the most reviled philosophical
Squirrel.
Now, I'm more of an absolutist, right? And I say that because I tend to.
Where's the
I'm
cat
not
with
best Christian,
Ketchup?
but I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. That's my faith. I don't lock it in a box, right? You kind of have to love your faith, even if you fail, right? Even if you're an adulterer, even if you're a murderer, even if you're pick the sin, even if you're one of those, because the truth is absolute, despite my failure. So, as an absolutist, in many ways, it's kind of oppositional to relativism, right? So let's talk about that, right? Because they have this ethical viewpoint of nature and morality. Now, absolutism, my belief, that is my moral principles, or the moral principles we should all live by, are kind of universal and binding and apply to everyone in all situations and places, right? So we can go ahead and think about that in the context of maybe the 10 Commandments, if you will. Thou shalt not murder. Okay, that's pretty universal, right? There's you should not premeditate the murder of anyone, ever. It's not situational, it's whatever. Now, of course, that does not include killing in self-defense, which isn't murder anyway. So it's an absolutist view that I typically espouse. And I think
Billy's gonna come to Ottawa and shoot me. Take his guns. Well, I'm JC.
The belief that
all because you're using the same name as my sisters.
Binding and varying depending on the situation or the context. They believe that there is no independent moral truth, or that the rightness of a situation or action always depends on the context.
Rich Valdez with an S.
And I guess there's some people that believe in one idea and some that believe in others.
The squirrels
and
are
I
playing.
would also suggest that it's likely that so many of the media tend to be relativists. Why? Because they tell the truth when they feel like it, and they don't when they don't. Now, absolutist moral theories don't really consider the consequence, right?
Sitting there
They
looking
don't
at
think
me
about,
eating
I'm going to
peanuts.
do what's right because we do what's right because it's right, not because of what can happen to us. So, as an example, you've got Immanuel Kant, right? Something called the categorical imperative or the divine command theory. These ideas are locked in. The relativist moral theories are more in consideration, I guess I should say, with consequence. If I do this, then maybe I do that. And again, that doesn't mean that we should not consider our consequences. We should. But ultimately, this is not an ends justifying the means type of thing. And the reason I bring all of this up, right, because that's where we are. We've got journalists that are operating with their situational ethics, situational truth, if you will. The truth is whatever they believe when they want to believe it. They get to decide what you can handle and what you can't. But this doesn't only exist with journalists. If we take a moment and pause and we think for a second, and I know you guys are thinking,
Oh,
smartest audience
you
of
son of
radio
a
over here.
bitch.
But if we take a moment and think,
Oh,
we're going to come to the conclusion that there are lots of people that will throw the rule book out, throw the Constitution out. They're not exclusive to the left. There are people, researchers, people that follow different types of chat boards and whatnot, that believe that as long as we get it done, we do whatever we got to do in the process. Who cares about the Constitution? Right? They truly believe that we do what we have to do. This is an all-out battle. If that were the case, then what are we doing? Like, why have any semblance of following the rules? You have to follow the rules. Right? In my opinion, you do. This war that's on truth, it really exists all around us, right? It's the battle over information, and it's unending. The question is, who's going to win? The fake fraudsters in the media, or the pro-Putin patriots that are out there telling you that, America's the bad guy, Putin is the good guy. And many of those people are taking up residence in different movements in the country, not the least of which the populist movement. And then you got a bunch of patriots in the middle that they know what's right, they know what's wrong. They use common sense, but they don't base their life solely on common sense. They base it on certain truths, right? And because it's those truths that we hope, right, to hold self-evident, right? Those things, that is what guides us. And that is ultimately what we hang our hat on. Reagan called on all of us to be informed patriots. Nothing wrong, right, with doing research or being in the know. I think we all have to do those things. But I think there's plenty wrong with matching the tactics of the enemy. They're lying, stealing, cheating, killing, destroying, whatever. Does that mean we do all that because now we're just trying to beat them at their game? Do we, in effect, become the enemy to beat the enemy? If they steal an election, do we go and steal an election? Is that how it works? I don't believe it is. I can tell you one person I know that doesn't believe that, Trump. Never heard Trump say, let's give them what they've given us. He pushes back. And let me tell you, there's probably no fiercer counterpuncher than Trump in today's political age. Yet he's never saying, let's do to them what they do to us. I've never heard him say, let's weaponize the justice system to go after our political enemies. I hear the left saying that about him. I've never heard him say that. I've heard all sorts of theories that are out there that say that, when Trump comes in, he's going to lock everybody up. There's going to be some mass arrests. I think the only mass arrest we're going to see is that of a mass deportation, which is commensurate, right? We have a mass immigration problem. Anyway, why am I saying all this stuff? I say it because information is power right now. For my intent and my purpose here, we are days away from an election, right? 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, whatever it is. And in those 20 some odd days, are we going to be swayed by these fantasies that some people are putting out there online? Or are we going to be swayed by the fact that if we get everybody we know that's registered to vote, get them in a car, and we do it with everybody we know all over the country, and there's a massive movement, that we can actually make a powerful difference? CNN, right? Their data analyst, Harry Enton, by this time of the week, it's Friday. So while it's 5 o'clock somewhere, I'm sure you've already heard Harry Enton talking on CNN. I don't know if we have that clip or not, but I heard it a couple of nights ago. And I can tell you that Harry Enton is saying Trump could win in a landslide if the trend we're seeing remains to be true, that he's being underpolled. If that's the case, they're going to keep saying so-and-so's winning, so-and-so's winning, so-and-so. Kemaraedes, right? That's what I like to call her. That means how bad you are. And how bad she is indeed. And Kemaraedes is up in every poll every now and again, and then she's down in the poll, and then she's up in the poll. And I think she's neck and neck with 3 swing states for her, 3 swing states for him. And that's what a race does. But the reality is it really neck and neck? Not on the issues, it's not. But by the people being polled, it is. Okay, granted. Will they get to the polls? I don't know. Are these likely voters? I don't know. You got to read the crosstabs and see what's going on here. But the bottom line is, as they continue to underpoll it, undersample, and underestimate Donald Trump, who I like to call Donaldus Magnus El Trompito, the 45th president.
Ronaldus Magnus. We've been calling that for years.
When we see that happen, what ends up happening is that people are inspired to go and vote.
Hey, you fucking stupid Englishman, wake up, you dumb fucker.
Biggity, as he would say, right?
Alpesh Patel.
So again,
it's hard to believe that's your real name, though. I think you adopted that fucking name. Your name is Howard or some shit like that.
And that's why I think we need to kind of
Eugene. I bet your real name is Eugene. Eugene Smith or some shit. Acid Trip. They fucking call you Acid Drip.
I think the political fight of our time. We have to get back to truth so we can handle.
Hey, Acid Trip, you do realize it's going to get to the point where, you know, the issue is going to be Shannon.
For most intent.
Because I'm going to talk about Shannon.
We see Kamala Harris.
And she's all part of that fucking Trolls Inc. bullshit with Josie Wales and Voodoo Trucker and all them motherfuckers. Acid Trip.
CBS News. But now they're creating the answer. What's next? Doing AI, getting a sample of her voice and saying, look, she's really not that good. Let's say we're pre-taping it and just do the interview for her.
I might be talking to myself right now, but somebody will be listening.
Next level, like 5G, 5-dimensional deception. And that's not something that we could stand for. So I think the truth must be the truth. You can't be a little bit pregnant, right? Raise your hand if you've ever been a little bit pregnant. You can't be. The truth has to be the truth. You either are or you're not. It's either real or it isn't. Because the minute that the truth is no longer the truth, and the minute you can actually bend reality, that's the minute that reality truly stops existing. So when you hear things like Tiananmen Tim, the running mate to Kemaraedes, say things like the truth is being spun, or that lies like he's got the lies on speed dial.
Hillary's hiding behind the scenes in this fucking mess. Fuck you, Hillary.
A message
Clinton.
that's rooted in hate, but for the hate that they spew and preach.
I have a right to redress my government. She I didn't vote for her. She became senator.
I want to hear from you.
She came up here. Most people didn't like her. She'll never come up here again.
877-381-3811 if you're a living.
Obama went to fucking Saranac Lake.
Again, my name, Rich Valdez. That's Valdez with an S. At Rich Valdez on all of the social media. I'm filling in for the great one.
Obama had the nerve to come up into the Adirondacks. You fucker, Obama.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles.
I'm fucking loud. Well, ain't many people here, which is good. They put a fucking questionnaire about getting views and shit. Want to know if I wanted to pay for views or if I knew about it. I'm giving fair warning to you executives at both Google and Facebook. You guys don't know how to run a business. Been violating antitrust laws, suppression speech. Duh, you violated community guidelines. Duh, you got a community strike. That fucking fat witch sits up in Ottawa and fucking doxes my mother and hands it out to everybody on the fucking internet. So I'm gonna start blaming you, Google and YouTube, for letting that fucking bitch do that shit. My mother's never ever been in here. I try to make it positive, but there's nothing positive about these suck fucks having my mother's picture. So JC, I fucking hate you. I do. Now I officially fucking hate you, JC. You're never going to get my support for anything. You were never raped? Yeah, fucking Rain believing that you're fucking a widow. Good grief. How does a fucking divorcee become a widow? Jesus Christ. Rusty. Marie Luba Pina. Yeah. Yeah, and JT come up here, fucking posted, what's his name's address. I already had it. Like, just the fact that he did it. JT thinks JT, you're fucked up in the head, boy. You got a long ways to go to catch up with Billy Hayden. Fucking punk.
Clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
Commercial.
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once.
Don't worry, JC. I won't restream you. If I listen to you, JC, I'm going to mute myself. And if I find anything interesting, I'm just going to fucking type it and post it for everybody to see. You guys are deleting streams. You and Wigan are fucking deleting every fucking stream you do. Why is that? The world may never know.
Making sense of the news. Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world?
The new WMEL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know.
All without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows.
Get the day's top headlines.
Fuck, I might as well just get in a fucking lazy boy and relax.
The WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight.
Fucking
but it
commercial.
doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Getting you on the stories happening while you work.
Apparently, Joe Biden was talking about artificial intelligence. He claims he saw an AI video of himself recently.
Vince Palanes.
Here he is at the White House.
Deepfakes use AI-generated audio and video to smear reputations, speak or spreads fake news, and commit fraud.
Oh my gosh. Can the AI video speak in complete sentences? That'd be an improvement over the real thing.
Weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Vince Colonnese,
News Talk 105.9.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9.
WMAL.
All right, amigos, welcome back, familia. My name is Rich Valdez, and I'm filling in for the great one, Mark Levin, tonight. He's off for Yom Kippur. And you know, something that some of you may know me, by the way, some of you may not. If it's your first time, hey, welcome to the show. I'm happy to be here with you guys. I worked for the great one, Mark Levin. You might know me. I filled in a bunch of times before I got my own radio show. And Mark nicknamed me our liberty-loving Latino amigo, Richie V. Mr. Call Screener. And yeah, I spent 5 years here as the associate producer working alongside the great Richard Zementa, Mr. Producer, who's a great guy, and a brother from another mother. Anyway, and that was just a little bit about me. And you could always learn more about me at richvaldez.com if you want to check out my big, huge, nationally syndicated show that reaches maybe, I don't know, a fraction of what Levin reaches. But we definitely do it every night from 10 o'clock at night all the way to, I don't know, 1 in the morning every night. So I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But we're talking about truth. And the truth that we're talking about is the truth that's so important, right? The real truth. Not the truth that the Democrats will have you believe. Not the truth that Tiananmen Tim Walls is always talking about, saying that the truth is being spun and lies are being spun. And he just makes stuff up as he goes along. Listen to this.
And you call yourself a knucklehead. You call yourself a knucklehead because you've made some statements that just aren't true. And the comment about weapons of war that I carried in war, which you didn't. You said that you were in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre when you weren't. You kind of chalked it all up to bad grammar or getting the dates wrong. Yeah. But your opponents say you lied to make yourself look better. Do they have a point?
Well, look, 35 years ago, got the opportunity to be in Hong Kong, be in China, learned a lot about it. Served 24 years in the National Guard. Passionately.
That sounds like a non-answer to me, right? It was do your critics have a point? And he, well, I served 24. Go ahead.
On an instance there, proud of the service that I've done, proud to be a teacher in that classroom, proud to have been very public all these years and owning it when I, said, look, I was there in August of '89. And I think what you see here, you saw in Minnesota, I've been elected 8 times here. These things have been very public. Folks here, they see the results of things that we pass. We see a state that's a top 5 state for business. We see third best, top 3 state for raising a child. And we've got the best healthcare. And I think the policy, whether it be dealing with China and understanding China's human rights.
The question was, are you a liar, sir? And the answer, well, I know I've been in public schools. Listen, I don't care what part of the country you're from. I don't care if you're from the Midwest, from Hawaii, or from New York. This guy is a liar. When we're talking about the truth, this is exactly what I'm not talking about. I'm talking about these are the lies. And kudos to the guys in the media that are actually asking these questions. You know why? Because they realize at some point, this is my country too. At some point, I can't allow this moron to be the leader of the free world, or at least a sidekick to the leader of the free world. Can't mad at us. Anyway, folks, it's Rich Valdez. We're coming right back. More to come straight ahead. Sitting in for the great one, Mark Levin.
Big news. A new Reuters study says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America, and millions of Americans are turning off old media and tuning in to Newsmax. They're following Newsmax because they want real news. Now, Newsmax has just announced it plans to go public later this year. If you're eligible, you can become an owner of Newsmax by purchasing preferred shares. Find out more at newsmaxinvest.com to see your eligibility to participate. Go online and read Newsmax's memo. Forbes says Newsmax is a news powerhouse. Join the news revolution. Get Newsmax shares. You can even buy shares with a credit card. Go to newsmaxinvest.com to see your eligibility. Whenever making an investment decision, you should consult your attorney or financial advisor. And investors are responsible for conducting their own due diligence regarding investments and for all tax and other risks and obligations. So find out more at newsmaxinvest.com today.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9.
News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. The price tag to repair damage from Hurricane Milton's a hefty one. President Biden says early estimates indicate it could cost $50 billion. More than 2 million customers remain without power in the Sunshine State. Mr. Biden says there needs to be more investment to strengthen the electric grid so it doesn't need to be rebuilt after every storm. Montgomery College issued a code red and closed all of its locations early today after a former student sent a threatening email. An email to staff and students said the threat has not been deemed credible, that an investigation is underway. The school spokesperson says they know this is concerning, but every precaution is being taken to maintain a safe learning environment. Checking your money, the Dow closed at 409 points, the Nasdaq up 60. Traffic and weather next.
Robinhood's Hood Week is coming, so start the countdown now. 12 days, 3 epic offers, and unlimited bonus amounts starting October 16th when you transfer your IRAs, margin balances, or other brokerage accounts to Robinhood. There's no limit to how much you can earn. Head to Robinhood.com/HoodWeek now to learn more about Hood Week. Investing is risky. Bonus offers subject to terms and conditions. Visit Robinhood.com/HoodWeek for more information. Margin is not suitable for all investors. Robinhood Gold is offered through Robinhood Gold LLC and is a subscription offering services for a fee. Brokerage services offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
This is my new best friend.
Hi, Charlie.
Normal, playful puppy. But Esther's being raised to become a canine companion for
Hey,
independent.
Charlie, how many gods are there? Anyways, Gotti says he's God.
Plenty of exercise.
JT thinks he's God, but his girlfriend is calling some other guy God. And Wiggin thinks he's God of hate.
Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
So you tell me, Charlie.
Making sense of party politics.
Mark Levin.
This is why people don't have trust.
That's cool. That's why I'm here.
This is the unvarnished truth.
News Talk 105.9.
WNA.
I like this guy, this Rich Valdez. He's been around for a while, long time. He's good. I like him.
And don't forget to check out our amazing travel.
These guys know what to bring. They really do. The shit that goes on.
The headlines. Listen to this. It's stunning. O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor.
Hey, Charlie,
we'll be covering it for you live if we always do.
News Talk 105.
Turn that fucker down so I'm not trying to scream over the fucking thing. Hey, Charlie, Gotti and Wiggin are fighting over me. You notice that? I was going to say something else about Wiggin and fucking slipped my mind there. Commercial comes on, blaring, like speaker sitting right here.
Making sense of your morning. Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company.
Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
Then here's the latest example.
Making sense.
Hey, Charlie, you want to do Billy a favor? Yes or no? I got a favor to ask you. I want you to do something for me. I'm not going to ask you unless you do it, though. I want a yes answer. You want to do me a favor? If you say no, I won't ask. They keep you guessing.
6.
On News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
He's playing a tune from Phil Collins, Genesis.
Liberty and true conservatism. Call Mark.
I want you to go to JC's chat and tell Justine not to talk to me no more. To keep her mouth shut. Quit harassing me. I'm sick of that bitch. Sick of these fuckers, Charlie. She's got a big fucking mouth. And I'm sick of her. Show's on.
In government, on a campaign, something like that. And I did other things. But 20 years ago, right, 2004, I was working on I was actually stumping with Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, in New Hampshire for Bush in his re-election campaign 20 years ago, around this time, right? About a month away from Election Day. And I can tell you that in the time that I have...
tell Justine to keep my fucking name out of her mouth.
I've learned a few things. I've noticed a few things. And
you see what she says.
One of the things
I'm sick of her.
Is that it seems to me that they're always going to find critics.
Fucking loudmouth.
However, I'm going to tell you, and I'm on the radio when people call in and do a whole hour-long call-in.
I ain't very happy with JC either, Charlie, just so you know.
And I can tell you, it's very.
That's a dumb
very hard
motherfucker
for
right there,
people
JC.
to
She's a
think
stupid person.
Kamala Harris, who, as you know, I like to call Que mala eres, which means how bad she is in Spanish. So, Que mala eres.
And Wigan and
really
Gotti are fighting over me.
And we know that. I know preachers are required here, right? But it's a.
So there you go, Billboard.
Because when Biden ran, they argued with everybody.
Billboard. Those two are fighting over me.
You were out there in the world doing what you do.
I was never part of Elderverse. I was never part of fucking DA's little fucking crowd there with Ginger and Logical and Rusty and all the rest of them.
All there is out there is anti-Trump. He's a threat to democracy. How could you support this? How could you support that? How could you say you're a Christian?
Do something.
How could you support him? It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
There's no strikes or anything on this channel.
And her X, Y, and Z plan.
I'm learning the ropes. Been observing.
I mean, it's just remarkable to me how we've gone so intellectually soft, where people don't even ask questions anymore. Nobody even wants to say, hold on a second. Look, maybe you are fanatical of the idea of abortion. Maybe you think everybody should have all sorts of abortions. Maybe you think guns should never have existed, and if you have it your way, guns will never exist again. Maybe you think the government should be in charge of everything. The government is our daddy. That's how we are to subsist. But all that being said, even if you believed all those things, I still don't think you would like Kamala Harris. I just don't think so. She's incredibly weak on so many issues. And even the ones where she probably is passionate about, she is so inarticulate on these issues. And her retail politician, astroturf political style of speaking with people, it's just so, I don't know, it leaves so much to be desired. I mean, every politician out there gives you circuitous rhetoric, right? They do. That's how they talk. Okay, I get it. But come on. I mean, neither one of these people will answer any questions. If you want to criticize Trump, criticize him for taking too long when he answers the question, because he answers it and he goes on and on and on and makes a few jokes and goes on some more. But he's answering the question. He gets into the weeds on foreign policy stuff. Even if he throws in a healthy dose of bravado, he answers the question. He uses real world experience, typically from his time in the White House, and he gives you the answers. And ultimately, people have minds of their own, and they're going to think, right? They're going to say, hey, look, I'm old enough to remember when Donald Trump was in office 5-6 years ago. I remember when he didn't destroy democracy. I remember when we didn't have World War III with North Korea, like they said. So all that happening and all that being said, they have a reason to be nervous. Now, I'm not going to be like other people out there that say the Democrats are running scared. And the reason I won't say that is because I believe Democrats have a problem just the same as criminals. If you've ever, I did a little chaplaincy work with the Newark Police Department in New Jersey, and I've been there to do some ministry work. And I can tell you that I've spoken with people, criminals, gang people. They're typically not scared. They typically operate from a position of anger. Like, oh, you did what? Oh, I'm going to get you, right? I mean, that's just how it is. The people in Washington, as my buddy Cash Patel has pointed out, these government gangsters, they operate in the same way. They're not afraid. And when they see their opponent getting a leg up on them, they don't become scared. They're not in panic. I always reject this notion. They get a little concerned, but they're very calculated because that's what it's like to be a bureaucrat. I worked in government for a little bit, in the state government in New Jersey for a Republican governor. And I can tell you, and everybody hated me, but because they don't like people who don't follow the status quo. If you're not going along with what the deep state, the administrative state, what they want you to do, it threatens all of them.
Been having this pain right there in my fucking rib cage.
It's a threat to all of them.
Fucking
Everybody's riding that gravy train. Everybody's being held hostage or a willing participant with Stockholm syndrome or otherwise to a pension and a paycheck.
Hopefully,
how
right
they
now
do
it feels like it's going away. I
They-
fucking
and
been
the
sore
the main extortionist
in my
is a union.
bones.
It's some sort of labor union, whether it's a government employees labor union or a
Might
student
have
state
gout.
labor union, but it's a labor union nonetheless.
Ben Franklin
And they're
died
the
from
ones that their
gout.
job is to go out there
Lived
and
to be
scare
84 years old, I think. That's
scare them
old.
into submission. But they themselves, they're not scared because they get drunk with power.
Getting dark in here.
But when you hear the Raging Cajun, you know, the guy who coined the phrase, it's the economy, stupid.
James Carville.
When you hear the Raging Cajun say,
Mary Madeline's husband.
they're scared.
James Carville.
It makes me wonder.
He said about Paulie Jones, you drag $100 bill through a trailer park, you never know what you're going to get.
James Carville had to say, because I thought this was pretty eye-opening. Check this out.
Only thing I feel is the election's coming November 5th. I'm scared to death, and I'll get a time to, obviously.
You're not in a reflective mood.
Not in a particular reflective mood right now. I'm very concerned about
What does Harris need to do with the month left?
But 7 months left. Let's start. We got 26 days.
Yep.
Today is go. You're going to lose 4th of the hurricane. Just subtract that. We're going to get blank. You're not going to really get much out for the next 4 days. So, and everything kind of shuts down the Saturday before the election. So you're really probably under 20 days that you have to really get a message out. They need to be sharp. They need to be aggressive. They need to stop answering questions and start asking questions. They're doing all this and sitting down with 60 Minutes and sitting down with Colbert and sitting down. No matter what, if I come on your show, you're going to ask me the question.
That's true.
If I have a press conference, I get to ask the question.
You'd like to see her do more press conferences?
I'd like for her to put more things in play. Like
where she's out driving it.
Out. Say, what is J.D. Vance talking about that Trump saved Obamacare, tried to just destroy it every point?
That's again the Raging Cajun.
James Carville. James Carville.
Advisor, Clinton pollster.
He's from Louisiana, just like you are, Ray Wan.
As of late, I think he's been sounding.
Ray Wan.
He is.
James Carville.
Clinton played the middle like a fiddle.
Yeah. Justin knows everything or whatever, right?
All about everything that most people
sounds
love.
just like that fucking idiot that got elected senator. Everybody likes me. Al Franken.
Now,
anybody here?
How much time do I have?
My meter's reading too.
Okay, perfect timing. So I get to complete my thought here. Now, he's not the only one that's feeling like they've gone a little too far off the reservation. You've got Senator Anton, right? Mike Bennett Anton, is that his name? He was caught on a mic saying some stuff, and then they called him out, and he said, "Yeah, I said it." Kind of like Levin, right? Listen to this.
I gotta get some more stuff.
It's not working. That's the deep state. The deep state is at it. They don't like it when I come here. Well, if we don't have that one, what we'll do is we will take a pause here, come back to that audio, plus audio I mentioned earlier of Harry Enton from CNN as well, also saying that this would be a landslide for Trump if it were to happen today. Don't go anywhere, folks. I am Rich Valdez, filling in for the great one.
Much love in.
So, Charlie, you still here? My meter's reading 0. I must go take a nap. That fucking crazy Englishman is still alive, but he's probably passed out. Which makes me think Shannon probably live, isn't she? Let's check. Yeah, I don't really get into that too much. She was live 14 minutes ago. All I ever do check see if she's live. I can't watch Shannon. I can't take that fucking henpecking fucker. So that's what she is a fucking henpecker. And I'm still the last comment posted in Acid Trip's fucking comments. They ain't got this blocked. There's no sound. He's got Whippo's address bannered. Like, what good does it do me to have this guy's address? Why the fuck is over in Europe? My 338 won't reach that far. Randy, it's a joke. Randy, you gonna report me or what? I'm fucking waiting. Not back on yet.
Sweet Deals has an offer that can't be beat. Get instant access to Microsoft Office Home plus Business for Windows or Mac for only $39.99. This is a lifetime license valued at $219.
That light you see is coming from the kitchen. It's the door is right there.
So don't delay.
Shining this way.
Sweet Deal today at sweetdeals.com.
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there is help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org. That's
Wigan.
Working by the Consumer Bankers Foundation, the leadership.
I think Yumi wants me, Wigan.
Fund,
I think Yumi's into older men.
News Talk 105.9.
WMAL.
I think she's looking for a white dude from America.
Tax returns. The October 5th.
Blonde hair, blue eye. Well, I'm gray.
The IRS can garnish your
White.
wages or even seize property. We need Tax Network USA right now.
Still have all my teeth,
And preferred direct
except for
loans
one.
the
I'm
IRS
missing one on the bottom.
Jobs quickly and in your favor. Don't wait, folks. October 15th.
Been like
is
that
just
for a
days
while.
away. Call 1-800-780-8888.
You would notice it.
TNUSA.com/Levin. TNUSA.com/Levin.
If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000
About the time fucking Wigan went to punch me in the mouth, might give me a fat lip, right?
Is offering a low-cost month-to-month
My
vehicle
teeth are gonna
protection plan
shred
at
his
an
fucking
all-time low
knuckles.
price that covers more parts
I got
than
some
ever
sharp
before.
teeth.
Call CarShield now to find out how you could pay almost nothing for covered
motherfuckers are
auto
sharp.
repairs and lock in your price today. Call
I fucking big you, you gonna fucking
800-898-6155.
be a.
That's 800-898-6155. 800.
Yeah, I wouldn't bite you if I had to.
Coverage
Ain't no
benefits
fucking
apply.
throat. I'd rip that fucking, I'd bite that Adam's apple right out of your fucking, right there.
5.9 WMAL.
Right at that fucking collarbone fucking joint. Yeah, fucking, you done?
Making sense
Wigan.
of the border because laws
Look, they teach you that in the army?
Download the
Fucking
WMAL app. to
First
screen
shot
for
be the
free.
kill shot. Right there is the #1 kill shot. Right there.
Welcome back, America. Rich Valdez filling in for the
You fucking
great
take
one,
somebody
Mark,
right
the
there
Alabama.
and make them
And
bleed hard.
right
They
on,
can't breathe.
I was trying to
They can't. They're fucking frozen.
Senator Michael Bennett, and then one of Harry.
Yeah,
Hinton
you
from
fucking
CNN.
punch somebody in the throat, you
They're
get
both,
fucking.
in effect, saying the same thing. That things are looking really
Trust
good
me,
for
I got
us.
arrested for it.
Now, we had a little incident with the beach.
Got out of it.
Trying to slow us down, but that's
Defended
stop
myself.
us
I
or
fucking
let the
punched somebody in the
producers go
throat.
get the job done. So I want you to listen to this clip
I was in fear of my
from
life.
Harry Hinton. I took it yesterday, the day before. Being that I work at night and into like past midnight for 1 hour, I never know what day of the week it is. So forgive me on that one. But listen to Harry Hinton from CNN.
Margin among vocational and trade school grads in pre-election polling. Bill Clinton was leading that vote over George H.W. Bush by 7 points. Look at where Donald Trump is today over Kamala Harris, a 31-point advantage. When I think people think of the working class, they think of people who use their hands. And we know that Donald Trump has been going after that vote, and he is in a very, very strong position, more so perhaps than any other bloc. The folks who go to trade school, vocational school, that has moved from being a core Democratic group to now being a core group of Donald Trump's massive amount of support among the working class. The reason Donald Trump is doing so well amongst voters of color is because he has really gone in and grabbed a lot of voters that he didn't previously have among those who didn't graduate college. And this is part of a larger trend that we're seeing throughout our politics era, in which Republicans, specifically Donald Trump, is doing very, very well among working class voters, whether they were in unions, whether they went to trade school, or whether they're voters of color. The fact is, Donald Trump seems to have gone into a hotbed of traditional Democratic support and made a lot of movement in ways I don't think a lot of people would have thought when he went down that escalator just back in 2015.
There you go. Harry Ensign, we win in a landslide. He said it in a different part of that same clip, but for brevity, that's the part we got you. Now, we also have Senator Bennett, in addition to Anson over here, saying the same thing that, yeah, he said it, right? they should have had a clip with a great one. That's right. I said it. Listen to this.
President Biden can win in 2024. Is that true?
Well, it's true that I said that. And I did say that behind closed doors. And you guys and others asked whether I'd said it. And that is what I said. So I figured I should come here and say it publicly.
Why do you think he can't win in November?
I just think this race is on a trajectory that is very worrisome if you care about the future of this country. Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House. And so for me, this isn't a question about polling. It's not a question about politics. It's a moral question about the future of our country. And I think it's critically important for us to come to grips with what we face if together we put this country on the path of electing Donald Trump.
Yeah, you fucking dumb motherfucker.
That's a file clip from the archive, right? That was over the summer. And he was talking about Joel
Lars Borstein.
But
all you fuckers over in Europe. Every fucking single one of you.
Here because while the candidate has changed, he's still saying what I think so many Democrats are thinking, that Trump is positioned to win. They tried to change the candidate. They got a little bit of a bump, but they get the bump they needed? No, of course not. Because the bump that they needed was really something that would have sustained throughout the campaign. But lamentably, that's not where they are. Right? Take a look at this, right? Harris took the stage in Arizona on Thursday, yesterday, for the second time in 2 weeks. She immediately called herself the underdog. Now, she's been saying this word because she thinks it motivates voters. But the reality is she's admitting that she's behind because the polls are indicative. They're clear. Now, she's lost a lot of support amongst Hispanics because Trump is talking about things that matter to Hispanics. And there happens to be a bunch of them in Arizona. So she's out there telling the Arizonans to vote for her. And I feel like it's falling on deaf ears because people don't believe her, right? They don't believe she's being genuine. And ultimately, this is going to cost her. Now, I don't want to steal too much more time from you guys, from the callers. I know there's a few people online. So let me see. Where do we go from here? Before the music creeps up on us and then it's time to go and come back in a few minutes. All right, hang on, bear with me. We got calls from all over here. Let's see. Mississippi, Illinois, Michigan, Kansas, Minnesota, and Montana. All right, well, I want to go to, let's see, somebody here doesn't like what I said. Let's go to Tom in Geneva, Illinois, WLS. Go right ahead. Tom. The great one would say, he's been stunned by my brilliance. Okay, so let me see. Where do we go? We go to the next one up. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Will, calling from Laurel, Mississippi on Sirius XM. Go ahead.
Hey.
How are you?
How you doing?
Fantastic.
I just wanted to comment on Kamala Harris.
All right, sounds like we're breaking up. Let me go to somebody else before we run out of time here. Kathy, Springfield, Missouri. Go right ahead, KSGF.
Thank you very much for taking my call. I just want to say, if we don't get Trump in, we are going to lose our country. So you were talking about truth. Truth is relative to culture, all right? And the number one culture in Haiti, for example, is voodoo. And our American Indians, a man could not get a wife unless he counted coops by stealing and by killing, because that was their culture. And if they keep bringing in all these illegals and put them in enclaves like your Bordistan and this other one with the Haitian,
New York City. There's a lot of these enclaves.
they're creating little subcultures, and they're electing people that subculture wants. And by doing that, they're controlling that state. And if they
well,
do
listen,
this in every
you're
state,
right, Kathy. I agree with you. It's definitely about control. I'm sure for some that are thinking that far ahead, it's about controlling the culture. But I would say, like many things Democrats do, there's a lot of unintended consequences here because they typically tend to not think things out. That's why some of the best conservatives out there, Thomas Sowell among them, right? Dr. Sowell says that he became a conservative because he was a Marxist. And then Milton Friedman set him straight. Thank you for your call, Kathy, and everybody else on the line. We're going to get to you momentarily. Stick with me, folks. Rich Valdez at Rich Valdez on all of the social media. Sitting in for the great one, Mark Levin tonight. We're coming right back. Don't move a muscle.
Making sense of your world.
I can't believe this. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
And I am so with you.
Making sense of the news.
building, we've once again made contact with a leader of the then.
What's up, America? I am Rich Valdez, filling in for the great one, Mark Levin. He's celebrating Yom Kippur this evening, and you're stuck with me. If you want to join the conversation, feel free. Our telephone number is 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811 if you want to disagree. And we'll get to your calls in a little bit. I want to talk about a few things that are going on tonight. We opened the late night, or I should say early evening town hall conversation tonight, discussing the battle for truth, the battle on information. There's a real war going on outside, and it's against what we consider to be true. And in that same vein, I want to continue to point out some of the hypocrisy that we're seeing from both the left within the media and the left within our government, i.e. Kamala Harris, who I like to call Que mala eres, which means how bad you are in Spanish and how bad she is indeed, because Que mala eres is truly bad at this job. I mean, she is totally propped up on life support here, right? But for her papi chulo, big meta donor funders that were supporting Biden and decided to get behind her, like George Soros and the rest of the crowd, she would be lost. She'd be done for, right? Stick a fork in her. But she's out there, and her arch rival, El Trumpito, Donaldus Magnus, the 45th president of these United States, Donald J. Trump. He's always calling around. Good for him that he does it. And he's on the campaign trail, and he's explaining to everyone repeatedly that Kamala has done nothing in particular with respect to this hurricane, right? And the response to it. Now, Biden gets out there on his high horse yesterday, and he's saying, now, come on, man. You know how he gets. He gets all indignant about it. Saying, and you got Donald Trump out there. And Joe El Baboso Biden doing what Babosos do best, babosadas. And he seems bothered that Trump is criticizing him and Kamala Harris on their response. But what's interesting is that I don't think Trump's saying anything that's not true. I think that their response was lackluster. They're the ones that made the comments about FEMA running out of money. What did you think? Nobody was going to pick up on that and say, well, that's funny. They're not running out of money at the border. No matter what you do, they're going to say something about the border, right? Biden says, well, you know, it's a beautiful day today in Washington, D.C. Someone said, well, you know what? It sucks down here at the border because people are getting overrun. Now, this is a story that goes on, I don't know, 2015. That was 9 years ago when Trump was talking about they're bringing us their rapists and their murderers. Right? And he was 100% right. They're not sending us their best, they're sending us their worst. He didn't lie then, and he's not lying now. And now the difference is people believe him, and they don't believe them, the media. Right, again, the battle for truth. And that's what we're talking about. So you've got El Trumpito. He's on the campaign trail, and he's come on, did nothing about this. Listen to this.
Kamala flew to a fundraiser in San Francisco, a city she absolutely destroyed. She destroyed. It was the best city in the country, and now it's not good at all. Well, families desperately tried to escape the rising floodwaters, and they climbed onto roofs. They did anything they can to live, but Kamala didn't send any helicopters to rescue them. And when people sent helicopters, they turned them back. And when, by the way, when Elon sent Starlink, originally they confiscated it, they took it. It took them a long time to get it over there, and it's a disgrace. And he doesn't want to say that, but I'll say it. It was disgraceful what they did. So she didn't send anything or anyone at all. Days passed, no help as men, women, and children drowned. North Carolina has 8 military bases, great bases. Fort Bragg, remember Fort Bragg? They changed the name. We won 2 wars, 2 world wars, actually, to be specific, from Fort Bragg. But they changed the name to, I'm not even going to say it. Let's just call it Fort Bragg. I think, what do you think? Has nothing to do with Pennsylvania. But the people of North Carolina would like to leave it a sport brag. Can we do that? Yes? I think so. But they had rescue helicopters that could have easily be sent, and there was just no coordination. I'm not surprised because I've been dealing with them. There's nothing. But instead, Kamala recorded a podcast known for its graphic content. Can you believe it? She did nothing as people struggled and drowned, and day after day, no one came, and it's totally deficient. Fortunately, the private sector kicked in, and they're really helping and doing a good job, I will tell you.
So anyway, so many things to go to there, right? He calls her out for her response on the hurricane. He also calls her out for going on the Call Her Daddy podcast, which is an incredibly popular podcast because it is so raunchy. It's got this girl who's very, I don't know, raunchy. I'm just going to stick with raunchy, and that's okay. Listen, I understand. You know, I'm not here to critique her per se, but I am going to say that it's just it seems like something. If Trump went on that show, they'd have a field day. They'd have a field day saying, "Can you believe Trump went on the Call Her Daddy?" You know, I could see the criticizing him for that. Anyway, Kamala, this is interesting because she's been on several podcasts, right? And the ratings don't seem to improve. Look at this, just a quick article, and then I'll go right back to the hurricane response now. She was on there. Listen to this. I'm reading this on wokespy.com. Kamala Harris's appearance on the popular sex-themed podcast Call Her Daddy has been ridiculed by conservative commentators and the public at large. While most views of the show are via podcast, a video from the interview was posted to YouTube where 82% of the ratings are negative. Vice President Harris's 40-minute interview with Alex Cooper seemed a bizarre setting for Harris to engage with would-be voters. Not many ended up tuning in. Nevertheless, the Democrat nominee is shadowing the strategy implemented by Donald Trump's campaign. Trump has frequented popular podcasts for over a year, allowing him to reach a wider audience than traditional media outlets would allow. Yeah, that's true. He's a very smart man. I had Trump on my show, which is a radio show and a podcast. But we had a great time, and it was a very free-flowing interview. It was a really terrific kind of interview. Hey, Harris, however, has not enjoyed the same positive reaction from her foray into podcasting. A major problem for the Democrat was that few people cared enough to watch the podcast, particularly when her figures are compared to Trump's. Listen, this is where it gets good. Trump's appearance on Dr. Phil, I also had Dr. Phil on. He's also fantastic to have a chat with. And Theo Vaughn got more than 27 million and 14 million views, respectively, while appearances elsewhere have largely attracted several million viewers. Just take a look at how Trump has absolutely dwarfed Harris's views. And here you go. We got a couple of things here. He was on with Aiden Ross, 6 million views. Dr. Phil, 27 million views. Dave Ramsey, 5 million views. Theo Vaughn, 14 million views. Sean Ryan, 4 million views. Lex Friedman, 6 million views. You've seen him on a bunch of times with the great one, Mark Levin, on the Fox News channel, on Life, Liberty, and Levin, millions of views. And not to mention, there's a brand new Life, Liberty, and Levin coming up this weekend. So I wanted to make sure that you tune in for that. And there was something else I needed to mention on that front. I'll have to get back to it. Anyway, so Kamala Harris is not doing her thing, at all. And Trump is blasting her for it. But she fires back, trying to take that high road, trying to say that, you know what, while Trump's doing X, Y, and Z, I am doing something else. I'm asking people if they're okay. Listen to this audio clip number 23 of Kamala Harris asking if you're okay.
Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? The only question I ever ask is, are you okay? And sadly, we have seen over the last 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene.
Now, you know what's funny about this? And again, nothing's funny about Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton or the disaster that ensued as a result of each. But what is funny about Kamala Harris is that she tends to code switch, which is something a lot of people do. But I've noticed she was on a town hall last night on Univision. That's the Spanish language network owned by, not owned, that's Telemundo, that rivals the NBC-owned Telemundo. And somebody asked her a question. The guy had an accent. He sounded kind of like my dad did when he was alive. God rest his soul, and said something about, I forget it, probably the economy. And her response seemed to come across in a Spanish accent. We've seen her do it in the South. We've seen her do it in black churches. It's just phenomenal. And again, imagine if I did something like that. And I probably have done stuff like that. But if imagine if I did that, visited an Indian church. I grew up with one of my best friends in the world. He was my neighbor in the building I lived in growing up. And he was Indian, and he's still Indian. His parents are Indian. But I remember I was around them so much that at times I would say things the way they said it. And there was a period of time, I was probably in sixth grade, where me and another friend of ours that we all hung out together, we kind of like were just, and not in any way like ridiculing, making fun, nothing like that. We thought it was cool. And we were trying to practice the accent and learn actual words in Indian. It was very funny. But, there was a time where we were just doing it so much that we would do it when we didn't even know we were doing it. So maybe that's what's happening with Kim Malaitis. She goes from her Jamaican accent to her down south black church accent to her Spanish mommy accent. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Kim Malaitis. Maybe the nickname is rubbing off on her. But she also says that prices are just too high. And of course, she doesn't do anything to make them lower except raise inflation. Listen to this.
What are you going to do to help the middle class so that the cost of living does not destroy us?
Thank you for the question and your point. Listen, I know prices are too high still. Prices are too high still. And we have to deal with it. Here's how I feel about it. Again, you've heard my story. I come from the working class. I'm never going to forget where I come from. And part of what we have to do is build what I call an opportunity economy, where people have the opportunity, like you have described, for you to be able to work hard and your 5 daughters have an opportunity to then do what they and what you aspire for them to be able to do without having to worry about just getting by. I want you to be able to get ahead.
Fantastic. That's beautiful. Kamala for president. This woman still doesn't know what you're going to do, right? And that's the problem here. The problem here is that she continues with these platitudes and with no result. That's unsustainable, in my opinion. I don't think that people are believing what's going on there. So I'm going to continue with our conversation on this and everything else. Plus, some of your calls are coming up in a little bit. If you want to join us and disagree, agree, chime in, whatever you want to do, the number 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. If you disagree, don't go anywhere. Don't move a muscle. I am Rich Valdez, at Rich Valdez on all of the social media. Sitting in for the great one.
Must love in. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
As we move toward the upcoming election, there's a lot on the line for we Americans. That's why it's more important than ever to stay informed, stay involved, join a community that stands for your values. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is a leading conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. Members receive a subscription to the AMAC magazine, exclusive discounts on a wide range of benefits, free resources, trusted news, and so much more. AMAC stands strong on the issues that matter most to you, defending important priorities, safeguarding essential programs, and ensuring the integrity of our democratic process. AMAC also works tirelessly to protect your freedoms and make sure your voice is heard. So join AMAC today, like me, and be part of a movement that champions your values. Visit amac.us/LEVIN and become a member and make a difference. That's amac.us/Levin. This election season, make sure you stay informed by standing with AMAC. Again, that's amac.us/Levin. We'll protect America's future.
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for the power, performance, and reliability of a new Superstart battery. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When you listen to audiobooks, you can read wherever you go. Discover the latest pulse-pounding suspense and thriller titles like The Next Mrs. Parrish by best-selling author Liv Constantine, Knife River by Justine Champagne, The Switch by Lily Sampson, or One of Our Kind, the first adult book from best-selling young adult author Nicola Yoon. Find the year's hottest mystery thriller titles from Penguin Random House Audio.
What happens when a liberal and conservative get together?
Is there one thing that you respect about the way that I see the world?
No. All over America, strangers with different political views are coming together to talk about their lives, not politics, and discovering they actually have a lot in common.
You said that you want the best for this country. I respect that, and I agree.
So let's talk for a change. Learn more at takeonesmallstep.org.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Cumulus Podcast Network presents the Jim Rome Podcast, calling all clones. Jim has new content for you each week, including fresh interviews with the biggest names in sports. Enjoy wherever you listen.
Making sense of the headlines.
And somehow the news media, oops.
Chris Plant.
Weekdays 9 to noon.
What in the name of God are these people thinking?
News Talk 105.9.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Making sense of party politics.
Mark Levin.
This is why people don't have trust in their government.
Weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
This is the unvarnished truth.
News Talk 105.9.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Folks, we may be standing on the precipice of a post-election economic meltdown. Any election can send shockwaves through our financial system, but this time, the stakes could be higher than ever. Reckless spending, mounting debt, misguided policies has set the stage for potential economic disaster. We can see rapid inflation or even attempts to undermine our currency. That's why I've always relied on diversification and gold for protection. It's been said to be a timeless safeguard against economic chaos, and in these uncertain times, it's more crucial than ever. When it comes to gold, I trust Advantage Gold exclusively. They're one of the top gold companies in America, and they're who I turn to for my own investments. Call 800-900-8000 right now for a free gold investment kit to see how gold can help protect you from post-election chaos. You might even qualify for $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Making sense of your world.
Talk radio is where I get all of my information.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
First thing each morning, O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9 on WMAL.
All right, amigos, welcome back, familia. I am Rich Valdez, your liberty-loving Latino amigo. Used to be known as Mr. Call Screener around these parts. Spent 5 years as the associate producer here at the Mark Levin Show. And then I got a chance to take over a very big radio show that was started by a guy named Larry King back in 1978. And then it was continued for decades by a giant in this business, Jim Bohannon, late night radio, 10 o'clock Eastern time to 1 a.m. on hundreds of stations across the country. And it's a real honor and a pleasure to be there. And whenever one of my mentors and my friend, the great one, Mark Levin, asks me to fill in for him, I never say no. And of course, it is Yom Kippur, and that's why Mark is not in tonight. And I tweeted, Happy Yom Kippur. And someone said, I'm not Jewish. Someone named Jim Dillman. So, Mr. Dillman, if you're listening, he says, I'm not Jewish and I know you mean well, but I'm not sure it's appropriate to wish someone a happy Yom Kippur. It's somewhat akin to telling someone to have a good time at their mother's funeral. Now, I grew up with a lot of Jews, and I've never seen Yom Kippur celebrated like anybody's mom's funeral. The Day of Atonement comes, following Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and it's a time of reflection and repentance and turning away from sin. And extended prayer, right? Really getting into the presence of God. And I could, again, as a Christian, all I could say is the word I read, my scripture says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So if you're present with the Lord, that's a good thing. And yes, happy Yom Kippur, or at least, enjoy your celebration or observance of Yom Kippur. If that makes you happier, Mr. Dillon. But I just wanted to address that real quick. Now, I also wanted to address Mr. former President Obama, because he was out there and, just going at it, doing what he does, saying what he says, trying to drum up as much support as he can for Kamala Harris. I just don't know if it's enough, right? To me, it seems like she got a little momentum when she came on the scene. They were able to raise more money and not lose the pledges they've gotten. But ultimately, they couldn't do that. So anyway, I want you to listen to, well, I don't have the times on these audio clips, Mr. Producer. Which is the shortest Obama? All right, so let's go to number 25. Check this out.
Kamala Harris is ready to do the job. This is a leader who has spent her life fighting on behalf of people who need a voice and a chance. Somebody who was raised in the middle class, who worked a summer job at McDonald's while she earned a degree, who believes in the values that built this country. Somebody who has served with distinction in every office that she has ever held.
So there you go, singing her praises. And listen, when you're a machine politician, all you have to do is play the role, right? Kind of like AOC. Although she did kind of break against the mold and go against the existing machine, but is a machine politician of her own right, right? She was the communist machine, the DSA machine. And they took on the other machine and they won. But a machine politician is a machine politician. It's astroturf. There's no grassroots. They're not supported by the people. The people don't love them. They just hate what their opponents are doing. Hate doesn't get us where we got to be, but maybe love of country will. Folks, Rich Valdez coming right back. I'm sitting in for the great one, Mark Levin.
The big wireless carriers want to limit you to two choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. So folks, stop overpaying for data you're never going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when you only need a cup. With Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data you actually want. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, plus mobile hotspot. Folks, stop overpaying for wireless and get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Dial pound 250, say the keyword Mark Levin. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make switching very easy. There's no contract, no activation fee. You can even keep your phone and your number. Dial pound 250, that's pound 250, and say Mark Levin. And you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you sign up with Pure Talk. Again, pound 250, say Mark Levin.
WMAL traffic in the district still struggling. This report in Bethesda. Word of an accident on the northbound stretch of 270 after the I-270 spur. Traffic jammed as far back as Old Georgetown Road. Bethesda's also jammed southbound on the 270 spur between Democracy Boulevard and the Beltway. In Falmouth, an accident this hour with the left lane blocked northbound on 95 before the Centerport Parkway, yielding jammed traffic as far back as Warrington Road with more than 20 minutes. I'm Gavin Montgomery, now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
Tonight, clear and cold, lows around 44. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, highs near 80.
Cumulus Podcast Network presents Inside of You with host Michael Rosenbaum, the bald dude from the show Smallville. Each week, Michael speaks with his friends, some of Hollywood's biggest names, and discovers they're not that different from us. Enjoy wherever you listen.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companion for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
Named one of the best personal finance podcasts, the Stacking Benjamin Show with Joe and his friends makes financial literacy fun.
I thought I can just keep spending money, however, to this back of the envelope math if I just cover it by making more money. The three words that make me groan the loudest that broke people say is, I deserve it. I was saying it all the time. Well, I deserve a night out. I don't have any money, but I'll take my last dollars and do a night at a restaurant.
Find out more by searching the Stacking Benjamins podcast, wherever you listen.
Making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company.
Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
Then here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor.
Weekdays 5 to 9 a.m. News Talk 105.9.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for a nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Yes, I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Making sense of the headlines.
Listen to this. It's stunning.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor.
Weekdays 5 to 9 a.m.
We'll be covering it for you live, as we always do.
News Talk 105.9.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news. Every time I feel my baby kick, I sing. You don't understand. I never